Hi, Bruno here. Welcome to Spainguru. So today we're going to talk about residence permits in Spain. What is the best permit for you? Now, if you're thinking of living in Spain, and a very important part of the process is to regularize your situation and obtain a residence permit. However, there are many options and you do not know which one is the most suitable for you. Well, don't worry, because in this video we're going to do a general overview of all the Spanish residence permits and visas available so that you know, especially according to your specific case and your plans in Spain, which is the most recommended for you. Stay until the end of the video, as we're going to see some tips and strategies that will be very useful for you to get your residence permit and navigate through the process very easily. Do you really need to apply for a residence permit? And this is the first thing that you need to ask yourself, because in fact it will depend on the answers to a couple of questions. So the first question is your nationality, your country of origin. If you're from a country within the European Union, if you're European, you do not need to apply for a regular residence permit because you only have to apply for your European Union registration card or certificate, which is much easier and much faster to apply for than if you are from outside the European Union. And with it, you can now live in Spain and work in Spain legally without any problems. Now, are you planning to be in Spain longer than 90 days? This is very important, because if you're a citizen from outside the European Union, then we have to move on to the next question. How long do you plan to be in Spain? If you are only going to be in Spain for 3 months or less, that is a maximum of 90 days in a 180 days period, then you do not have to apply for a residence permit, but you do have to apply for a visa to be able to be in Spain during this time, depending on your country of origin. There is a list of countries who are required to hold this visa and a list of countries that are exempt, and if you go to the article, a link that is in the video description below, you will find the link to the official list for the Schengen visa. It is very important that you take this period into account, the 90 days period, because if you enter and you're going to be in Spain for 90 days and then leave the country, there will be no problem. However, if your intention is really to stay beyond these 90 days, then you will need a residence permit. Otherwise, you will be in an irregular situation. You will have to apply for a temporary residency, which lasts 1 or 2 years with the possibility of renewing it. It is very important to know this in advance, because to apply for many of these residence permits, you will not be able to do it from Spain, but you will have to do it at a Spanish consulate in your country of origin. On this point, sometimes people also say that student visas can be applied for within Spain, but in practical terms, it is easier to do it from abroad, from a Spanish consulate outside of Spain, because if you do it inside Spain, a lot of problems come up, even though you technically and theoretically can do it. Therefore, before entering, it is very important that you plan how long you are going to stay. Finally, we have also the long-term residence, formerly known as permanent residence, which is what you will be granted once you arrive living in Spain territory for a minimum of 5 years, and you are already authorized to live indefinitely with renewals every 5 years. Alright, let's go with the list of the different residence permits in Spain. The different options you have are depending on your particular situation and the main requirements, so that you know exactly which one is most suitable for you. But before this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button to this video if you like the content. Now let's go with the first one. First type of residence, the Spanish non-lucrative visa. Without a doubt, an option that we highly recommend due to its simplicity at the requirements level. What is the non-profit residence or non-lucrative visa for? For those people who want to come to Spain without carrying out any type of economic or work activity. We find the typical case of those who want to retire in Spain and those foreigners who simply want to live in the country. For example, spend a year visiting, discovering Spain, traveling. the different territories or the different regions and that they are not going to work. If this is your case, the non-lucrative visa will be without doubt the best option, the more straightforward, the easiest, because the requirements are quite direct. However, many people in our community ask, is it possible to work remotely on a non-lucrative visa in Spain for a company abroad? And to answer that question, we have written an article and made a video. You will find the link in the video description below. For this kind of visa, the non-lucrative visa, we're going to need private health insurance and, on the other hand, demonstrate that you have sufficient financial solvency to keep you in the country. In this case, we're talking about a minimum of around 28,000 euros for the first applicant, and then you will have a fraction of this index called IPREM for each of the dependents that come together with the first applicant. So you will have to show this in your bank account. Although, depending on your country of origin and the requirements at your consulate, since this permit is requested from your country of origin, you cannot do it from Spain. This amount may go up, so be careful because every consulate is slightly different and different recommendations, different amounts are recommended. It may be somewhat higher or may even require some extra requirements, such as renting a place beforehand to show proof of address in Spain, or even have school enrollment letter for your kids. You can find link to an article about that in the video description below. Now let's go with the golden visa. This is the second type of residence that we are mentioning here. Also quite direct in terms of requirements, quite easy, quite straightforward, is the investor visa or the famous golden visa. This is the case for those people who want to buy, make an investment in real estate in Spain, either because it will be their habitual residence or simply because they want to invest in the country. And as long as this investment meets a minimum of 500,000 euros, €500,000, then you will be able to get this first residence, which, unlike the non-lucrative visa, also authorizes you to work from within Spain. Next kind of visa, the entrepreneur's visa. The entrepreneur's visa is a work permit that is granted to those foreigners who are going to start a business in Spanish territory, as long as this business is something totally innovative. It is something new that does not exist in the market, and that therefore it implies a high level of technology and innovation in its operations. If the business you are going to set up is something that exists, like a cafeteria, a bar, a bookstore, for example, then you will not be able to apply. This new entrepreneur visa is granted to those foreign entrepreneurs who want to start a project that is still totally new for the Spanish market and that is going to boost the country's economy. Now let's mention about the coming digital nomad visa. It is important to mention that this new type of visa is coming in 2023, so next year, the so-called digital nomad visa that has not been approved yet. This law draft includes a new visa that permits to work remotely from Spain. Specifically, what is intended is to introduce a new visa and a residence and work authorization in Spain through the well-known entrepreneurs law, through which you can live in Spain and work for companies that are outside our country. In addition, it allows the possibility of teleworking or working remotely for companies located in Spain, meeting a series of requirements. Next kind of visa, the student visa, which is undoubtedly a very popular option that is highly requested by many foreigners who want to study either an university degree or a master's degree, a doctorate, or some higher education in Spain, but not only those, but also an accredited language school, and there's a link also here in this article in the video description below where you can find some question and answers from our community members, as you don't have to actually enroll for a master's or university to get the student's visa alone. You can also enroll in language courses, in language schools that will grant you this student visa, and this visa can be extended as long as the studies last, which is really interesting. In addition, the student visa opens the door to stay in Spain in the long term in an easy way, because once you finish your studies, if you have had this student visa, you will be able to make a modification towards another type of residence permit, which normally will be some kind of work permit. Now let's talk about this visa modification that we've just mentioned. If you have been studying in Spain for a year, with this student visa, you will be able to modify a job search permit. It is basically a residence permit that allows you to spend a year in Spanish territory looking for work after finishing your studies and preparing to start your own business project. Alternatively, if you receive an offer where the salary is high enough, it is a technical position, you have people in charge, and so on, you could modify it to a work permit as a highly skilled worker, which we will see below. And finally, if you wanted to get a permit for a regular job, you could too. Before, you had to have spent 3 years with your student visa in order to do this modification, but right now you will no longer have to wait those 3 years. You can now change from a student visa to a work permit automatically after your studies are finished, and this is thanks to the modification of the regulation of the Foreigners Law in 2022. So as you can see, the student visa opens the doors to many foreigners who want to study long term. They start studying and then change to a work permit and stay in Spain working. Obtaining a regular work permit is obviously a rather more complex option in terms of requirements. There are different work permits: the regular work permit that can be either for someone else's account, cuenta ajena, if you want to work for a company, or for your own account, cuenta propia. If you want to start your own project, and unlike the entrepreneur visa, your project would be something that already exists. It is established business, such as a bar or restaurant or any similar type of business. The regular work permit is undoubtedly a more complex option, but once again, thanks to the reform of the regulation of the immigration law in August 2022, the procedures and requirements will be greatly facilitated. There is an alternative, that it is the work permit as a highly qualified worker. It is a permit that was created to encourage the entry of international talent, and this permit is offered to those people who, after having studied a master's degree, a doctorate, that is, they have a higher level of education, and start working with a company, having people in charge, or directing a team in a technical position that requires that knowledge that they have acquired in this higher education, and that they have at least a salary of about 40 to 45,000 euros per year, although the higher the better for the application. In these cases, this permit can be requested as highly qualified worker. Now let's go to see residence by legal union or family member. Obviously, not everyone has this possibility, but it is one of the options, which is very frequent way for all foreigners who want to start living in Spain using the community card, that is the residence visa as a family member of a European citizen. In the cases in which we have a family function with nationality, from any country in the European Union in this case, they grant us this community card that allows us, and this is a great advantage, to live and work in Spain for 5 years. The most common case is the foreigner whose partner is Spanish or European, and they register as pareja de hecho, and by European we mean from the European Union. So, pareja de hecho or common law couple, although they can also do so by marriage, but due to simplicity of the pareja de hecho process and the requirements, it is usually done through the pareja de hecho. You register as a pareja de hecho with this European citizen, okay, or Spaniard, and therefore you can apply for this residence as a family member of a community member. In this case, you can exceptionally apply directly from Spain with your short stay visa. Now let's talk about the arraigos or rootings. Finally, in the last case, we find the residence due to exceptional circumstances, that is, the residence due to arraigo or rooting. There are different types of arraigos or rootings. Until July 2022, there were 3 specific types of arraigo, but after August 2022, a new one was added. As you know, it is granted you have been living irregularly in Spain for a long period of time. You can access one of the 4 types of arraigo. The most common is arraigo social or social roots, which is granted to foreigners who have been living irregularly in Spain for 3 years minimum, as we have said, who have also obtained a job offer and have their own financial means or those of a family member, or are going to carry out an activity on their own account. On the other hand, we also find arraigo laboral, labor roots or work roots, which is the arraigo granted to foreigners who have been in Spain for 2 years. One less than in the case of arraigo social, and who in addition to these 2 years for at least 6 months they have been working irregularly in a company in Spain. The main requirement, apart from this 2-year residence and 6 months work, is to make a claim for this improper contracting of the job that they have been occupying. In addition, it must be proven that you have no criminal record either in your country of origin and in the country where you have resided for the last 5 years. Then we find arraigo familiar, family roots, which is granted to those foreign citizens in Spain who are in irregular situation, who are either the children of Spaniards of origin or the parents of a Spaniard child born in Spain. Finally, as a novelty since the regulation reform in August 2022, we have the arraigo laboral or arraigo for training, through which foreigners who prove their continuous stay in Spain for a minimum period of 2 years can obtain a residence permit for a period of 12 months. As requirements, lack of criminal records, commit to carry out a certain list of training. Okay, this is in the general summary of the different residence permits and visas in Spain and their main requirements that will allow you to obtain them. Please notice that this article is no legal advice. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button so you don't miss any of the new content that we upload to the video. And if you need expert advice, just go on Spainguru.es. You will find immigration lawyers. You will find also tax experts if you need to file taxes in Spain and also in the USA. You will find also relocation services in Spain, apostille services from the US, sworn translators, and health insurances when you apply for non-lucrative visa, when you apply for golden visa, student visa, you will need health insurances as well. And we also offer certificate of good health for the UK residents. And also if you need to go back to the States and you need a health insurance, we also offer those health insurances too. And of course, if you want to be part of a community, please join our Facebook group, Spain Immigration and Residency Questions, Spainguru.es, with more than 16,000 members, where you can ask any single question related to Spanish immigration issues, and you can do it also anonymously. You can also join our non-lucrative visa group with more than 800 members, our Spanish digital nomad visa group. Very important, last but not least, please subscribe to our newsletter. You can opt out anytime. We send this newsletter every single Monday morning, and we feature top discussions on our community and any news related to Spanish immigration. That's all for today. Thank you very much for watching. I wish you a great day. This is Bruno from Spainguru.es. Goodbye.